You're listening to ABA One-on-One Podcast. The American Basketball Association is the largest pro league in the world. Some great opportunities for team ownership are available, and the cost may surprise you. If you've ever thought about team ownership in a pro league, give us the opportunity to help make it a reality. Reach out to us for more info. For USA teams at www.abaliveaction.com. In Australia, go to www.abaleagueaustralia.com.
Sassy B Worldwide Productions. With over 25 years of entertainment experience, we have done it all. Celebrity appearances, red carpet events, image consultation and branding design. Our clients range from American football stars to Hollywood celebrities and everyone in between. Want to make a splash in the entertainment industry? Then it's time to get sassy. SassyBWorldwide.com.
Like what you hear on the show? Got a project, new business, or event you want to get the word out for? Then become an ABA One-on-One sponsor. We have some really cool packages and we can fit any budget. The ABA has a huge fan base with reach in many local and international communities. For more information, just go to our website, www.aba1on1.club. Hey guys, it's time for a new episode of ABA One-on-One.
Open up, yeah. Open up now. Open up. Open up, yeah. Open up. Open up now. I give a damn dog, give him a bone. Give a damn dog a bone. I give a damn dog, give him a bone. Give a damn dog a bone. I give him a bone. Damn dog, give him a bone. Give a damn dog a bone. Give him a bone. I give a damn dog, give him a bone.
Hey guys, welcome back to another ABA One-on-One. We're missing Brian today, but Rick and I are here, and we have a special guest, Jim Cleamons, here on the show, and we're going to talk basketball. So Jim, welcome to ABA One-on-One. How are you, man?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
All right. Hey, Rick, we're going to let you throw all the questions here since you got good history with my man. I don't want to miss anything, and you know what we like to hear. So, Rick, you kick it off, man. We'll follow your lead.
Well, I just want to start off by saying thanks to Coach Cleamons for coming on, because we try to get really good guests here every week, and we've been lucky so far getting some good ones on here. I was telling Coach Cleamons, one of his former assistants we had on a couple of weeks ago, Butch Beard and Clifford Ray, and now we got Jim. So we're cooking here.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I forgot to say this, and I'll jump back out. But he's the first guest that we've had on here that's actually close to my height. Everybody else has been taller than me. So, 6'3", I'm 6'1". At least we could look each other in the eye, dadgummit.
Yeah.
Even you're taller than me, Rick.
Only when I stand up. But
all right, Rick, go ahead, man.
All right, Coach Cleamons, let me just start off. I want to ask you a couple of things that a lot of these questions I know the answer to, but I like to hear it from you. About your Ohio State connection when you decided to go to Ohio State and go to the Big Ten. Who else has recruited you and all that? I like to start off at the college level.
Oh, wow. Well, I wasn't heavily recruited in terms of star status or a guy that had a lot of clippings or could have gone to almost any school he wanted to. I wasn't even the best player on my high school team. One of my teammates was first team All-State Ohio, and ended up going to Florida State. And he had a real good career down at Florida State, and played 2 years with Cowens, and they had a very successful team. And I'll tell anybody to this day, he's one of the better players I've ever played with in my life. And if anyone in those days would have had, or you'd looked at two athletes and said one of these is going to be a pro and the other guy is just going to be a good college player, I certainly would have been the guy that was certainly not going to be voted to be a pro. I was just fortunate enough to have skills and be in a good system, and my game got better each year. And I'm happy that I love the game of basketball, because that's certainly, I think, allowed me to have the career. My phone just did something funny. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Yeah, but I've just been blessed to be around good teammates, have wonderful coaches. I think I loved the game, and I worked at the game, and I think that work ethic allowed me to achieve the successes I've been blessed enough to have, and that allowed me to be in the right place at the right time, and I'm just happy that I've had these experiences. I mean, going from, like I say, not a heavily recruited player to being all Big Ten. In fact, my senior year, I was fortunate enough to be the most valuable player in the Big Ten, and we lost to Jim McDaniel and Jim Rose in the regional finals my senior year, one game away from Final Four, and we lost to them.
Kentucky?
Yeah, Western Kentucky. Yeah, and we lost to them in overtime, and we beat to get that far. We beat Marquette, and Marquette had won 40 games in a row, and so we weren't slouches. We just weren't. We just didn't have a lot of household names and a lot of personalities that people were aware of. But Fred Taylor, who was my coach in those days, Fred just had a good. Fred had a good system, and we all appreciated what team basketball about. And I think that's one of the reasons that we had success. And I learned to play in the system, and I let the system work for me. And once again, that allowed me to learn a lot of basketball. I played in high school. We were state champions. And so I've been just fortunate enough to be around, like I said, a lot of good basketball players. And I've been on teams where guys generally cared for each other. And I think that reflected in the way we played the game and how we our feelings for each other on and off the floors. So I think that, if anything, contributed to the successes I've had throughout my life.
Awesome.
Wow, that's extremely impressive to me, because being the basketball junkie and the historian that I am, I've been following basketball since mid-'60s. I'll go back a long ways, but but Coach Cleamons, I've kind of followed his career up through the years, and I saw something you put on the site today, I believe, CJ, about this. Jim's got a ring for every finger.
Yeah, I know. I was doing that to kind of get a few of my boys pumped up, because they always go, look, I love Jordan and people like that to death, but they always go, Michael Jordan, 6. Most impressive thing to me about Jordan and the Bulls was they did it back to back to back, and it's spaced, then back to back to back. But you look at so many players that have more rings in the league that go, like, the people just forget that they have that many rings, it's great. So I was glad to see that about you, my brother.
But another thing I think a lot of people don't realize, and this is one of the things that impresses me, Coach Cleamons, he's also got a ring as a player, as a rookie. And I tell you, talking about that is so, to me, and being with the greatest player in the history of the game, Wilt Chamberlain, to me, is just, I can't tell you how impressed I am with that.
Yeah. Well, that was 1972, right?
71, 72. Yeah, I was a rookie in 71.
I was 12 years old, brother.
All right.
Way to go. I love it. I love it.
Well, those were the days, man. Well,
yeah.
Well, you have to look, I talk about being blessed and coming along at a wonderful time. To me, I was like a kid in a candy store or bakery, and the guy comes out and says, "Well, what do you want?" I mean, Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, Jerry West.
Oh my.
Gail Goodrich.
Oh.
Pat Riley, who ended up, Pat came off the bench.
Happy Harrison.
Happy Harrison, Jim McMillan.
Oh man.
And then Flynn Robinson. Oh, I can name them all, brother. Flynn Robinson, John Q. Trapp, Keith Erickson. Keith was hurt the first part of our season, and he didn't even start practicing with us till after Christmas. And I think that's it. And myself, see, we only Flynn Robinson. Yeah, we only had 11 guys at the beginning of the game because Keith at the beginning of the season, Keith was hurt.
Yeah.
And Bill Sharman, Bill Sharman's head coach, and Casey Jones was my assistant coach. So I had wonderful personalities to learn the game from. We stay after practice and play 2-on-2, 3-on-3, shoot. I grew up. I cut my teeth on guys that really just loved the game. I mean, we practiced at Loyola College in Westchester, California, and that's where we practiced. So a lot of days after practice, we had to hurry up and get off the floor. And but the days that the form was available, and teams those days didn't practice a lot because the games came so rapidly, we stay and shoot. Practice would be over like at 3:30, and we played 3-on-3 shooting games, and guys would do their workouts. We stayed till 6 o'clock, just shooting. Guys just loved the game, and
that's great.
Well, that's the way we cut our teeth, and I tell people all the time, our second unit would regularly beat the first unit, and you look at that first unit and you say, you're full of crap. But Leroy Ellis was an oddity at that time because Leroy was 6'11", but Leroy could shoot free throw above the free throw line, top of the circle. So in transition, we will run to the basket, and we find Leroy as a secondary coming down, and Leroy would shoot 65% of those shots, and Wilt wouldn't come out and guard him, and we just had guys that understood the game, and we found their strengths. And once again, now this is not coach telling us things. These are things that we just learned about each other because we said we were just a basketball junkies. Wow. And we liked the game, and we found each other's strengths, and we just played to each other.
Man, that is awesome. I do have to ask you, I one quick one. Did you form any friendships with any ABA players back in the day?
Well, George McGinnis and I were friends.
Yeah.
Because we played the summer, going to my senior year, going to Georgia's sophomore year. We were fortunate enough to be on the World University Games.
Right.
And George played at Indiana, and I played at Ohio State. And so George and I played all summer together, and then we played against each other. Actually, we played against each other at the Far West Classic. In those days, at Christmas time, Indiana and Ohio State, we went to the same classic, a Far West Classic in Portland, Oregon.
Wow.
And George and Joby Wright, Bubbles Harris. Indiana had a wonderful team. Believe me, Indiana had more talent than the law allowed.
Wow.
Anyway, George ended up being a territorial pick by Indiana, and they took George. George only played 1 year college basketball, then he went on to have a fantastic pro career. But anyway, George and I played all summer together, along with Jim McDaniels, who beat us in the regional finals my senior year. They went to the Final Four, and they knocked us out. So the three of us knew each other pretty well. And then a young guard by the name of John Mengelt. John played guard at Auburn University down in Alabama, and he was also drafted by the Indiana Pacers, and he was drafted by the Cincinnati Royals, and then he ended up being traded to the Chicago Bulls. And John played pro basketball for a number of years, and then he did radio and TV work for I think for the Chicago Bulls. So we have good relationships. Guys, you look forward to playing against guys that you knew, and because everybody got a little ego now. Nobody likes to lose. So it was always fun to play those guys and to follow them. So I would even follow guys by the clippings. I'd get up in the mornings and see who played the night before and see who won and how they shot. And I would even do that for games that I did that for guys in the ABA because I followed them. And I also would do guys, if we had a game coming up and say I was playing against a guy, I started following him a week out to see how he's scoring, if he's scoring, getting to the free throw line. I just peruse his box score and see what his line looked like, and see how I had to prepare for the upcoming games to get mentally prepared. Because once again, guys got to realize this game is more mental than it's physical. And if you got one without the other, you're still whistling up the road, man. So you got to be able to know what you're doing and know who you got to play.
Oh yeah.
Wow. But you know something, Coach? A lot of people don't realize this, but back in those days, the NBA had a rule: you could not go into the draft unless your graduating class had graduated. So that set the stage for one Julius Erving. That set the stage for George McGinnis, because the ABA would take them. Because Moses Malone came straight out of high school. He didn't. He bypassed it altogether and went to the Utah Stars.
Yep.
And see, that's why I didn't end up playing in Indiana. See, I wanted to play in Indiana because Indiana arguably had the second best team in the ABA. But when George came out, they took George as a territorial pick. And see, they were playing in the fairgrounds over in Indianapolis, and they knew they were going to build a new arena, which was end up being Market Square. And they signed a guy by the name of Darnell Hillman, who had a wonderful career in the ABA. And so there wasn't any money left for me, and it was like Wimpy. They told me, well, if you sign with us this year, we'll gladly pay you next year. So my attorney at the time, he told me, no, we can't do that. You're not going to play. If you're going to play next year, then we'll sign next year. But if you're going to play this year, they're going to pay you for this year. So George took the money that was left on the table for me between George, Darnell Hillman, and building a Market Square arena. That went the money that was in the kitty for me. And so when LA drafted me, now this draft was taking place in March, and the NBA draft didn't take place until a month or two after that, because the season was over. And I was sitting in an agent's office when I found out that the Lakers had drafted me in the first round, because I didn't know where I went. So he made a phone call, and they said that I'd been drafted in the first round by Los Angeles Lakers. That's how I found out. But I would have I had much better name recognition in Middle America than going out to Los Angeles with the Lakers and no one who knew who I was out there. So I was actually looking forward and kind of sad that Indiana didn't have any money, because Indiana had a wonderful team franchise in those days.
Yeah. Man. Go ahead, Rick.
Indiana was, I'm sorry, CJ, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Rick.
I was going to say Indiana was one of the four teams when they consolidated or when they merged. Indiana was one of the four teams that the NBA took because they were before the more stable franchises, I guess. It was in New Jersey, it was in New York Nets, I guess, then, and Indiana Pacers.
The Pacers, Nets, San Antonio, and Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They all crossed.
You got them. Mm-hmm.
But
man.
I remember Pete Maravich was like that, because when he came out of LSU, you know, him from being from North Carolina, the Cougars, they were all over him, and then he ended up with Atlanta Hawks in the NBA. But I think he crossed over and played. Did he play in the ABA, CJ, or do you know? Jim, do you know that?
No, I'm not sure on him.
But I know they were going to pay him a lot of money. The ABA was going to pay him a lot of money.
ABA was, when they wanted people back in the day, they let you know real quick. I can definitely say that. Oh man. Hey, well, look, it's good. It's good. You know, hearing, you know, your story there, man. I've been just like looking at, you know, all the teams that you've, like, you know, as a player and as a coach, and every time I see a photo of you online, you know, it's always more in a mentor position, like you talking with young players, you know, and I always think that's really cool when I see those kind of images from former players, you know, and you know, it's good to have people like yourself that actually love the game. You know, we had John Gabriel from Orlando Magic on last week, and he was, you know, trying to tell players in our league, you know, you just gotta, you know, have the right mind and put in the grind and just keep going, and, you know, things will come your way. And it's kind of like what you're saying, being in with good people, being, you know, keeping the grind, loving the game, and getting out there even when it's not popular, and do it, you know, seems like everybody that's crossed over, that's been the path to success.
Well, you have to love what you do.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking anything or anybody, because we all have to choose the path that we take.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of, and you know, we had a series on here earlier in the year, the final dance, the last dance. And
the last dance, yeah.
Yeah, and people would ask me how I felt about that, and it's authentic.
Yeah.
What happened happened.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy. But once again, what the young player doesn't see is the hard work and the daily grind that it takes to be a true pro.
Yeah.
See, they, you know, like I was watching TV a few minutes ago before you guys called, and okay, they've got games on tonight. New Orleans is playing Utah, and then the Lakers and the Clippers are getting ready to go at it. Well, these young kids, they turn on the game, and that's all they see. They see all of a sudden it's game time, and guys are putting up the shots and getting the numbers and all this and all that. They don't see the hours of practice that go into that game mode. They don't see the production and the talk about how you're going to guard certain sets, how we're going to guard personnel, what we're going to do on double teams or switches and certain picks and angles, and where we pick up people and what we're going to try. They don't see that game prep.
Right.
All they do is see the game is on, and let's see who gets off.
Yeah.
And the game is much more strategic than that. And so that's why when you get to the game and they leave school, college, and now next year they're going to be able to go straight from high school, they don't see what makes a pro. It's more than just being able to have offensive skills or put the ball in the basket and having talent, because talent alone doesn't make you a pro. Having all these being able to do certain things is fine, but if you don't have a pro mentality, and that's understanding the skills that distinguish you and other players, your work habits, your love for the game, being able to know when to talk and when to listen and how to absorb the information that's being passed on to you. If you don't have those traits with you as a person, you won't make it as a pro. It's not talent alone, and that's where parents and agents and people who say they love the young people that they have, that they attract and they represent. They love them like they're their sons, and they want only the best for them. See, they don't really let them know the background and the foundation that they need to be successful in this business. It's more than being able to have certain offensive skills and athletic talent. If you don't have that full package, you're not going to be around very long. And then you get disgusted, or you say the coach doesn't like me, and you go to the general manager and you whine, and you talk to your agent, man, you got to get me out of here, blase, blase. So you're not going to be successful any place because you don't understand fully what is expected of you and what you have to bring to the table to make the situation work for not only you, but also for your teammate and your family. That's what being a pro is about. And see, you didn't see any of that in the Last Dance. And to me, that does a disservice, because when I first got to Chicago, and MJ was MJ, all right, he was leading the league in scoring, but he didn't have any of the hardware, i.e. the trophies, and he wasn't ready to absorb what we just talked about because he hadn't been taught that way. See, once again, it was about give the ball to MJ and basically get the hell out of his way. Well, see, that's fine, well and good. If he's just gonna live off his endorsements, that's fine, well and good. If he's got in his contract, if he's the MVP, the All-Star game, and all this and all that, he's gonna get paid for those numbers. But see, he was deeper than that. He wanted to win.
Yeah.
And in order to win, he had to get other people involved in the game. In order to win, he had to begin to understand what roles he needed to play and what roles needed to be fulfilled in order to play at the championship caliber that he wanted to be ultimately known as.
Yep.
See, and those are the messages that the Last Dance, if it brought out, it was so subtle, I missed it. And that's where I thought that they could have done a better job in highlighting what it actually took and what it takes because everyone can't be a star. And
there
see,
you go.
and that's what these young kids think, that all of a sudden that they are the stars, when really they're there for a couple of years just to learn the system and how to manipulate the system and navigate where it is they want to go. And if they're lucky enough to get some time on the floor, then those things do have an opportunity, if they're willing, to manifest themselves, and you can have a good career.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 150%.
I don't know whether how many people has the good fortune. I know Coach Cleamons. I was trying to think the other night who else coached Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant in the highlight of their career, in their heyday, when both of them were at their best.
Yeah.
And I don't know of too many people that had that opportunity, other than Phil Jackson, of course. But I think that's so impressive.
Well, don't forget Scottie Pippen.
Oh yeah.
And there's a young kid once again, two, Chris Paul and Giannis had a wonderful opportunity to touch Giannis for a quick minute, and I thought Giannis. I'll say this: Giannis is not as good as I thought he's going to be, because Giannis is right in that same vein. Giannis is going to, in a couple of years, when Giannis really gets some people around him that can appreciate his entire game, where he doesn't have to do quite as much, Giannis is going to fit right into that mold himself. He's going to be a terrific player for years and years to come, if he can get the right people around him where he doesn't have to do as much, because he can surely get the ball to people, and he's a student of the game, and he has a wonderful heart and mind for the basketball game.
Man,
that's right. You did coach him in Milwaukee. I remember that.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That was I had come out to training camp, and you told me, I'll never forget that you told me, so that guy's going to be great. And he was young. I think he had just got to the United States. I don't think he'd been here long.
Yeah, he just come over in August, and you came to camp in middle of September or whatever.
Yeah. I don't even think did he speak English?
Yeah,
not very well.
He could speak English, but once again, he didn't understand American slang,
That may be a good thing.
Well, but here's the thing. Here's the thing too, Rick. We tell Giannis that he's going to be a very good player. But we also told Giannis that the best thing that he could do is not become Americanized.
Yeah.
And he would look at us like we were talking Russian or Chinese because he didn't understand what we're saying. So we keep telling him, Giannis, don't become Americanized. Don't become Americanized. So finally he said, Coach, what are you talking about? Don't become Americanized. Well, long story short, the only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. So that's what we were telling Giannis. Don't be thinking you're successful. You got to put your work in first. That's what we meant by don't become Americanized. Here in America, man, the minute we scored 20 points, 3 games in a row, we start walking around, got a strut on, got a walk on. Hey, I'm this, I'm that. Hey, man, you just had 3 games in a row. Get your head out your booty hole.
Yeah.
Come on back to earth because you got a long ways to go. It's 82 games in the season, not just 3. So we were telling Giannis, hey, don't let a little bit of success go to your head. You got to do this every night, every day you step on the floor. And so guess what? Certain nights not going to be your nights. So what else can you do? Giannis is a very good player. Giannis could be the middleman in the fast break. He could be a lane runner in the fast break. He could be the finisher in the fast break. He's skillful. He's artistic. He has a wonderful game for the mind. So Giannis, come every night and learn how to help your team be successful. That's what we were telling him. So he was fortunate enough to make the Legends game, the rookie game. And then after the rookie game, he had some success there. So he came back all full of himself a little bit, chest pumped out. Yeah. Giannis, you ain't done nothing yet. You got another half of the season to play. You had a little bit of success. Now the team's going to change up the scouting report on you, and you just don't want to be a one-trick wonder. You got to add some depth and some quality to your game. That's the way you become an all-star. That's the way you become a player that other players will look up to. So that's what has to happen. And it's too many of these young kids, especially next year when they can go straight from high school to college, and they're going to find out. You're just a guy. You're just a number. Yeah. You got to prove this over and over and over again.
Yep. No, agreed. Hey, look, we got about 5 to 6 minutes left here, but I did want to ask you. You did coach in China, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. What was that like, man?
I enjoyed my experience. I had the youngest team in the league, and we ended up making the playoffs. I enjoyed it. I thought that my team played hard for me. One reason they played hard, I think, is because of my background, and I had some success, and I got them to finally trust each other. And one thing is that when you coach overseas and you have an interpreter, you don't necessarily have 100% control of your locker room because you're talking in English and it's being translated.
Yeah.
And you don't know if the translation comes out exactly what you wanted to say.
Yeah.
And then in China is very, how do I want to say this? In your locker room in China, the older guys set the tone. Because of their age and who they are, the younger guys look up and to the older guys, and the older guys don't want the younger guys to take their spot. So sometimes they don't want the younger guys to be playing better than they do because you get the age where you starting to retire. You want to play another year or two.
Yeah.
So they would tell the younger guys, and you don't have full control of this once again because you're a foreign coach, and you have to understand the culture in which you're entering into. So they would tell some of my younger guys, once again, you're playing too hard. Slow up a little bit. And I'm on the younger guys. Come on, give me more. I need your energy. I want your energy. So managing your locker room, and you aren't the first language, has to be, it gets kind of sticky wicky.
Yeah.
All right. And that's where you have to hope that you have good character in your locker room and good character on your team, because they have to understand there comes a time that you need to pass that baton forward, and you can't live with the same energy. You need the young guys, and you need fresh attitudes. Some nights you need fresh legs. With old guys, you just need something that they can't give you for a full game. And so you got to use your bench maybe a little bit more this game. And they think that you're mad at them, but you're just trying to win the game.
Yeah, you're just trying to win.
So you got to understand the culture and what you're walking and living into, and let guys know that you're not holding any grudges, that you're trying to do best you can, and after this game, we just reassess. I'm not mad at you. If we win the game, or if it's a close game and we lose, that's the way it crumbles sometimes. But I need you the next night. You got to forget the negative and accent the positive, because we got the dogs bark and the caravan moves on. And I still need you.
Awesome. Awesome.
I can relate a little bit to that, Jim. I was in China. I think I was at Wanma, that same team, and I used to always have a concern, especially in practice, were they actually translate, were they actually saying what I was saying, or were they putting their spin on it? I had a guy named Charles, and he come to practice every day in wingtip shoes and silk slacks, and follow me around. He was about 5'9", 5'10". I'm 6'7", and every time I'm turning around, bumping into him, and he's following me. I said, "Man, I'm good. I'm good. These guys understand what I'm saying. I don't need you."
Yeah, they get basketball. They get basketball.
Those guys were older. They knew.
Yeah. Hey guys, look, man, it's been great as usual. I think we're about to wrap this thing up, but I want to definitely say, thanks, Coach Jim Cleamons, for actually taking up our invite and being on the show. Man, like I said, I've been watching you online, checking out what you're doing, and what you did in the past, and like I said, seeing you as in a more of a mentor role with a lot of players has been really, really cool thing to see, and it's a good look. And you should be proud, even though you say you weren't the most, sought after for the draft. Man, you look like with your career, it looks like somebody was paying attention to you, else you wouldn't have been all those places. So I want to say thanks for being on the show. Rick, once again, thank you for introducing me to another great player and person. And, we hope to have you back on the show again soon.
Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure. And you got my conduit. He knows how to find me. Okay.
Yep. we got you sorted now. So we're gonna bug you to death.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got friends. I've got friends down in Perth. So
good.
Yeah. So once the virus gets cleared up, I'll be visiting your country, man.
Oh, that sounds cool, man. That sounds cool.
Weren't you over there, Jim?
Yeah, I was over there
last summer?
Last winter I was over there. In fact, I was over there for almost a month.
Wow. All right, guys. Well, we got to wrap it up. We'll be back in touch for sure. Thank you guys for being on ABA 101, and let's do it again. Everybody take care.
Never let the truth stand in the way of a good story.
I'm with you on that, Rick. All right, guys. Have a good day.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach Cleamons.
All right.
The best way to keep up with everything happening around here at ABA 101 is to join our monthly newsletter. Just for joining, we give you $230 worth of free gifts from our sponsors once you confirm your email address. You can unsubscribe at any time, but why would you? Just go to our website, www.aba101.club, scroll to the bottom of the page, and subscribe.
Come explore the No Strings Attached e-News online magazine. Our global array of authors inspire, delight, and educate with practical and entertaining articles. And with Focus On, we help producers of film, web series, and other video content attract a wider audience. Plus, your project can stream on Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, and more with our media partners E360 TV and NETV. No Strings Attached e-News, focusing on human interest. Advertising available, nsaen.com.
Well, that's going to do it for this week. Remember, you can keep up with every episode by subscribing via our website. Follow us on social media and tell your friends about us. Next week, new guests, more basketball tips, more basketball stories about the game we all love. Till then, be safe and keep your eyes on the ball.
Give him a bone.